Our story begins in the wilderness of Idaho. Early 1900s. A train screeches through the forest, steam curling into the sky. On board sits a young orphan boy, Robert Grainier. He has no family.
He spends almost 80 years of his life around Bonners Ferry, Idaho. He never sees the ocean. He only once goes about 40 miles into Montana. On paper, his life is small. But inside that small circle, everything happens. As a little boy, Robert is put on a train alone and sent to Idaho. He's maybe 6 or 7. He doesn't know his exact birthday. He doesn't know why he was sent away. He never really knows what happened to his real parents. One of his earliest memories is brutal. That finally changes when he meets Gladys Olding. Robert meets Gladys at a church gathering. She's there with her cousin. He's just quietly standing around. Within 3 months, they fall in love. Robert tells her they should get married. Gladys says they're already married in their hearts. They just have to tell everyone else. They dream about a home together. A small cabin with a window looking over the valley or the river. A dog she's always wanted. A place where hearing each other's names feels like music. They build that home on their own land near the Moyi River. It's simple and small, but it's theirs. Soon, they have a daughter, Kate. We see quiet, tender moments. Robert coming home from work, seeing how much Kate has grown. Gladys saying, "Her nose is just like yours." Kate staring at a candle flame, reaching toward it while her mother pulls it away so she doesn't burn herself. At night, Robert and Gladys talk about her. Does Kate know he's her father? Robert worries he's gone too much for work. Gladys tells him she's sure Kate knows, even if she can't say it yet. Gladys also admits, when he's gone, the house feels empty. Robert wants to stay, but logging is the only work he really has. When Robert leaves home, he enters a different world. Logging camps, bunkhouses, rough men, and endless work. Most of the men have no real home or family. They move wherever work calls them, from one state to another, cutting forest after forest. Robert meets strange and memorable characters. A man who lives inside a hollow tree trunk for peace. Post Frank, who talks about the Bible like he was there when it was written. A quiet worker who only ever says, "Can anyone in this world get even a moment of peace?" These men are forgotten by history, but Robert remembers them. In 1917, he works on Robinson Gorge Bridge for the Spokane International Railroad. During this job, he witnesses something horrifying. A Chinese worker is accused of stealing. There's no real proof, but the crew drags him up, shouts at him, and then throws him off the bridge. He falls to his death. Later, the boss praises the crew, saying they've opened a new part of the country, comparing their work to the pyramids. But in time, a new concrete and steel bridge is built, and their bridge becomes useless. Their labor is forgotten. The dead man is forgotten. But not by Robert. He starts having dreams about trains and that man, strange nightmares where the worker is killed again and again. These are the train dreams that haunt him. Back home, life with Gladys and Kate continues. Kate grows fast. Robert feels like every time he returns, he's missed another piece of her childhood. Gladys suggests, "What if we came with you to your work? I can wash clothes for the men. We can earn more. I just want to be with you." Robert says the camps are dangerous. Barely anyone brings family. The one couple who did disappeared after a week. They talk about another plan instead. Gladys wants to farm their land. She believes she can grow enough to support them. If it works, they'll buy a small saw machine, maybe a horse or mule, and build a little mill on their own property. Robert is worried about the cost, but he believes in her idea. They decide he will go back to the forest for one last logging season. After that, they'll start their new life at home. He says goodbye to Kate, tells her to say bye to Papa. Gladys watches him go. Neither of them knows. This is the last time he'll ever see them alive. Robert finishes his contract. He refuses to follow the crew to the next site. He wants to go home. He's decided, enough logging, time to build his life. But when he gets back, everything is gone. A wildfire has torn through the land. Trees are blackened. The cabin is burned to the ground. There's no sign of Gladys. No sign of Kate. Robert searches for nearly 2 weeks, the whole area, looking for any trace. He finds nothing. His world ends that day. But his body keeps living. Robert tries to rebuild. His friend Ignatius Jack helps him gather materials and put up another cabin on the same spot. They build walls, a roof, a door. But they can't rebuild what he lost. Robert can't even bring himself to recreate the bedroom where they once slept. His money problems grow worse. There's not much work. But the narrator tells us something sad. Even though he's poorer than ever, this is secretly one of the happiest times of his life. Because he still has hope. He hasn't yet accepted that Gladys and Kate are never coming back. He spends summers in a small shack in the burned area, catching fish and hunting for morel mushrooms that grow on scorched ground. He never tells anyone, but part of him is always waiting. If they come back, I want to be here. Years later, Robert leaves logging entirely. He buys 2 horses and a wagon on installment and starts working as a driver, hauling goods and sometimes passengers. He watches people closely, amused by their little dramas and foolishness. He meets more people than ever, but inside, he still feels alone. One day, Robert is supposed to pick up a woman from the U.S. Forest Service at the station. Her name is Claire Thompson. He's late, but finds her walking and offers her a ride. She accepts. They talk about the valley, about Montana, about how people in town said Robert is different. She means it as a compliment. We learn she was a nurse in the Great War, and now she works watching forests and fires. Later, Robert visits her at a fire lookout tower, high above the trees. From up there, everything looks small. The burned areas have grown green again. Claire says it's hard to believe there was ever a fire. She asks gently, "Were you here when the fire happened?" Robert answers, "No, I wasn't here, but my wife and my child were." For the first time, he opens his heart completely. He tells her how they died, how he feels like he's collapsing inside, how sometimes it feels like their deaths happened to someone else, until the guilt hits again. He confesses that sometimes in the forest, he hears their voices, laughing and talking among the trees, and he stays completely still, afraid that if he moves, they'll vanish. He says he's never told anyone this, and that she must think he's crazy. Claire doesn't. She tells him she also lost her husband, and that when you suffer that much, your strange behavior is not madness, it's grief. She talks about how every part of the forest, even the tiniest invisible insect or dead tree, matters and is connected. That idea, that everything is connected, becomes one of the biggest themes of the story. Later in his life, something mysterious happens. One night, a young girl appears at Robert's cabin, hurt and exhausted. To him, she is Kate. Her leg is injured. He treats her wounds, sets her leg as best as he can, speaks to her like a father soothing his child. For him, it's completely real. Seeing Kate again feels just as real as any other day of his life. But in the morning, she's gone. No footprints. No bandages. No sign she was ever there. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe a ghost. Maybe something in between. Robert spends days walking the fields and forests, searching for another glimpse of her. He never sees her again. Still, he never stops waiting. He lives out his days in the cabin, in a world that moves on without him. Cars, radios, space travel, while he stays anchored to the land, to his memories, to his ghosts. We're told that Robert Grainier dies in his sleep in November 1968, alone in his cabin. He leaves no heirs, no children, no family line. But the story suggests that even a small life like his is part of something much bigger. A web of people, places, trees, trains, fire, and memory. And that's Train Dreams. A quiet, haunting film about a man who loses everything in a fire, but keeps living, walking through grief, memory, and the changing world around him. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more detailed movie breakdowns, and let me know in the comments. Would you be able to stay and live in the same place that took your family from you? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.